allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. See cars pulling up right now. We'll have an audience shortly.
Well, so we gotta add, a couple of things to the agenda. I see, item D is the, bond authorization resolution. What is C though? We're missing a C, Sherry.
No, C is there.
Yes, he's there.
The code enforcement activity?
I was talking
Or the
about
set
unfinished
tax roll.
business.
To set the tax roll, it's there. The only thing I need you to add tonight is the bond authorization, resolution.
We'll get down to that part.
I see, that's under, okay.
Okay?
That's under unfinished business. I'm looking at
Yes,
new business.
9D, yes,
Okay.
9D, okay, yes, please.
I see.
So, 9D.
Yes.
9D.
Okay.
With that, I will make a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment of 9D, which is the bond authorization resolution number 2021-11.
Anyone else? There's a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of 9D. Comments? Everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Um, 4, approved amendments for the regular meeting, August the 9th. Comments?
I have a comment on the land. So, we agreed to, well, I voted no, but, did we agree to buy this land regardless whether we can make a profit off it or not?
Yeah, the way the motion was stated.
That's the way it was stated? Did Doug,
I-
you know that that's how it was stated?
I don't remember it being stated that way. I remember it was if we could resell it at a profit, contingent upon if we could resell it at a profit. And the attorney said we can't. But.
Well, it's in the courts right at the moment. It's in the courts. It's in the courts to be decided
Yeah,
at the
that's
moment.
proper- That's a proper.
So it's not, you
but-
can't answer that question with a yes or a no, a definite.
All right, then.
However, we can, if it is our property, we can use it for collateral. For, if we ever needed to borrow money on it, we can use it for collateral.
That's a good point. At fair market value or at that value?
Fair market value.
Okay, that's.
And that was from the attorney. So, yes.
That's big.
Yes, it is.
Any other comment?
So we need a motion for,
Yeah.
So that's how you wanna keep, that's how you wanna keep it?
Well, you noted. I don't wanna-
well, he can't change it. He can't change it, Sherry. Only the maker of the motion can make a change of the motion that they made. And the second has to approve it. Now, you guys are voting on the approval of the minutes. If you don't want to approve them, just say no. You know what I mean? Or yes. So we need a motion to approve the minutes as presented,
Or you can amend it.
So,
Or you can what?
or you can amend them.
so I guess I'm pausing because you brought something up, or you,
Well, I was just under,
Because it does say right here, contingent on affirmative approval of the village attorney concerning future sales. So if we don't have the answer yet, then we could approve this because it's still contingent on the approval.
Correct.
okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second.
okay, the motion to approve the minutes, and there's a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We received treasurer's report, August 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report dated September 13th, 2021.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the report, treasurer's report, August 2021. Any comments? We might better have the roll call, please.
Moore,
Yes.
Shimataro,
Yes.
McAbey,
Yes.
Walworth,
Yes.
Schlentz,
Yes.
Authorized payment of bills and transfers as presented, August 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve authorized payments of bills and transfers as presented August 2021. Public comments, sorry. I'll make a motion.
Okay, there's second, support?
I'll second.
Motion and support to authorize payments of bills and transfers. Tracy?
Schlentz,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Shimataro,
Yes.
McAbey,
Yes.
Walworth,
Yes.
Okay, number 7 is public comments on agenda items only.
Katie Vick, 9341 Green Road. In regards to the minutes that you guys have on your agenda to approve tonight, I actually did send an email about a week after to the administrator and the president of council out of concern over the way that clarification ended up. Because the way my recollection was, the night of the meeting, it was brought up by Mr. Walworth, seconded by Mrs. Schlentz, right? And it was a 2-2 tie to just purchase the parcel outright. And that means it failed. The way I understand Robert's Rule of Order is because that was not the prevailing motion, only the person who prevailed on the way that vote went can bring this topic up for a second discussion, a separate vote or a second action. And it wasn't Mr. McAbee or Ms. Moore that had brought it up for a second motion, even to amend it to include the condition of the attorney. That my understanding is, and I'm not by any means a Robert's Rule of Order expert, but my understanding was it would not have been acceptable for Mr. Walworth to make a second motion because he presented the first motion, which was essentially dead. And it would have had to have been Mr. McAbee or Ms. Moore to have brought it up for reconsideration in that same meeting. And why would you have brought it up for reconsideration anyways for the exact same motion that failed the first time, which was buy it outright? You were deliberately voting to buy it only on the condition that you could make a profit on it, and that was why Mr. McAbee had voted yes that second time. It sounds as though we don't have confirmation of that in any regard, that we can make a profit on it, so therefore, we have no reason to be purchasing the property. The reason why it's so much of an issue for me, why I'm passionate about this particular issue, is because I looked at the parks, that we cannot maintain properly fully. And I know our DPW tries, I know a lot of people are trying, but I just took my kids down a Friendship Path. There's a humongous tree fallen all over that outdoor classroom and just busted it all up. And that's been a while. It's been a while. We don't give a crap about our property. We don't need to have more of it. That's my personal opinion.
Thank you. I'd ask for anybody else, but thank you. Item 8, reports. Administrator?
Well, mine's pretty short. The Genesee County is going to build their own permanent hazardous waste drop-off center. And there will be an additional fee per household per year of approximately 78 cents, which each municipality will have to pay to the county. This will be, for us, approximately $700 for the Village of Goodrich. So just keep that in mind. So not only will we have whatever we pay the garbage company, but we're gonna have to end up paying an extra $700. And what this is, you know how twice a year they have this, hazardous waste pickups, and you never quite know where it's going to be in Genesee County? This will be a permanent place, and they'll be able to bring them there free, anytime, anything, for hazardous waste. all the residents will be able to bring it, but we're gonna have to pay a 78
I think-
cent
I
surcharge.
think that's a good benefit for our residents, you know, because not all residents, can make it to the one that they schedule. You know what I
Correct,
mean? Or
yes.
they forget about it, and this way, if there's a designated
Mhm.
area that they
Yep.
can go to, then, you know, anybody can go anytime and drop off that. And I think it'll result in more hazardous material being properly
Recycled, yep.
disposed of.
And I'll keep you informed as I'm informed. Goodrich, I provided you with the Goodrich Area Schools 2021-2022 Board of Education regular meeting dates. The schools in Atlas Township and the village are going to try to keep communication open with what's going on their agendas. So every time I get something from them, I will provide it to you guys. And then I also provide it to them. Any of our agendas or anything that's happening in our areas. And then I also provided you with information, with all the talk about a DDA, I provided you with information from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation on downtown development authorities, DDA. Just some information you guys can read over, give you some insight on DDAs. And that's it for me.
That's it, thank you.
Mhm.
Street Administrator?
Yes, I have a note here from Matt. Maine. Good morning. Some of the things we are working on are new concrete pad for bench at park undershed. Cracks at tennis court are finished along with the new basketball poles and hoops. It says hopes, but it's hoops. Repaired catch basin on Ridge and Huron Street. We have some steel posts and park signs located at entrance of park, Goodrich Commons Park. We will get a wood chipper this fall to trim tree branches. Also, getting prices on flashing lights for intersection. They are just like the county has with the red flashing light on top of the sign.
Could you stop just a second, Sherry? Let me explain that. I got some requests from some residents. They're concerned about the corner of Ridge and Janaroy and Ridge and Green. People are blowing through them. They're not stopping. And they asked if we could look into putting those, you've seen them, those red lights, you know, that flash on top in hopes that that would help. So I responded to the emails that I got on that, and I told them that I would let you know. I let the sheriff's department know that they're blowing through there. But I also told them I would.
They do it over by the school, Connie.
I told them I would look. I was also looking to see if I could find any grant money or any monies that are available to help pay for that. The guys did get a price just to put one on. It's about close to $1,400 just for one flashing light. So you know, to do 4 stop signs, you know, do the math. It's
Right.
close to be over $5,000. So we're looking to see if we can find some funding for that. I think it would be a safe thing to add down the road.
I'd
But
like to do some research.
let me do some research on that. I'm sorry to interrupt, Sherry. Go ahead.
No problem. It says mowing and trimming park and roadways. Soon it will be leaf time. We only remove leaves from drains and curbs. We do not have curbside leaf pickup. Have a great day, Matt. In this, he's talking about purchasing a tree trimmer.
I think rent
He
rent
says
it.
we will be getting a wood chipper.
The wood
this
chipper,
fall.
they rent in the
Oh,
fall.
to trim.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
Okay.
the same question, because
Alright,
we
yeah, I was
had
confused.
got that in our packet.
No,
we-
they
it
would
wasn't-
rent, like they always
it was
do.
Okay.
informal.
Just asking.
So we'll just, they're talking about renting.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, and then, what do we have to do in regards to our sign in the park?
We're gonna have to have it replaced because we can't find it. We're having issues in the park with some vandalism, and they took the sign, somebody stole the sign that talks about our, you know,
Yeah.
open from sun up to sundown. And usually they would just throw it in the water, we could find it, I guess, you know, kids do that. But we haven't found it yet, so we're gonna have to have it replaced.
The signs were quite obvious when they were there.
Are you talking about which,
Park.
I'm talking about the signs up with the park being open. hours
Yeah,
open, yeah. Yeah, somebody pulled it up, took off with it.
and,
The Commons Park?
Yes, the sign, yes.
yeah, the new signs.
Are we, doing something about taking the signs down for the, Friendship Park?
For the what?
The Friendship Park that was supposed to be shut down? Are we taking the signs down? Is that ever being,
When was it gonna be shut
addressed?
down?
It's,
There's never been discussed to shut it down. They're still mowing back there.
we discussed
I'm
it.
gonna check that mowing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not- it's not-
Oh, it is
It's
more.
not-
It's never been shut
Except for
down.
Well, it's never been officially, no, it's never been
It would
officially
take
shut
a vote
down.
of the
That
council.
discussion.
It's never been shut down.
No, it's never been officially,
Yeah,
the,
it's
the,
never been official.
the DPW is still taking care of it.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Code enforcement activity?
Matt has his there, there's several pages, and then that, I got David's is the last page there. With his. It seems to be mostly,
Big-
grass, dogs. The people that were complaining about the light, the bright light shining into their backyard, they're sending a letter to the owner. Those are both renters, and so they're sending a letter to the owner about the ordinance saying that those lights need to be downward instead of out like that. They're supposed to not be interfering with the neighbors.
I thought they agreed to.
They're supposed to be
change it.
shielded. No, they're not. They haven't been done.
Okay.
No, because they were dealing with the renters, and we need to deal with the property owners.
Right.
So that's what we're at right now, getting ready to send letters to the property owners and follow the proper procedure.
Does anybody just talk to their
Yes,
neighbors? Okay.
more than once,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Okay. Building department activity report?
Doug, can I say something about that?
Yes.
Right now, it shows that we have 18 total open permits. That's just new permits. We actually have 29 open ones currently.
Mhm.
Because when you get a building permit, it lasts a year. So, just to compare, last year at this time, we had 21 new permits, and the year before, we had 15. So we're not doing bad either way. You know, we're kind of,
Consistent.
yeah, we're kind of consistent right now. So, again, just so you see that we only have 18 permits, that just means 18 new permits. So, that's all.
Good.
Just wanted to clarify.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Cash receipt? I don't know if we really need to spend much time on that. Sherry, it is what it is, right?
I've
Well,
been busy.
that is it's what Tracy does, and as you can
Okay,
see,
Tracy.
it's extremely busy. Like that money coming in.
Yep. How many pages? 4 pages. It was 4 pages. Fire department, activity report.
And I I got the police department, one at the very last minute on Friday, that's why it's outside your book, I apologize for
Right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did put it in your packet.
Right, and that was quite extensive,
Yes, it was.
yeah. I too had a discussion with the officer about speeding in town and unfortunately, we're having this problem. A lot of municipalities, people have forgotten how to drive.
Mhm.
In case you guys see me on the news, I've asked for 8 consecutive days to have a sheriff on Eagle Road, and finally today he said, "You must be Melissa," when I approached his car. And I said, "I am, can you please?" And still, and it's getting very hairy every day, there's altercations with speeders, and
Wow.
it's really bad at the bus stop.
I'm sorry, what location is that?
Bus stop.
At the bus stop on Eagle, east of
East
M15.
Eagle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean they're not stopping for the bus?
Well, today he tried to run us over because the bus was on the other side of the road, so he felt he could go, but they come through at least 45 miles an hour, at least. At a
Yes,
minimum.
I did hear East Eagle is, speeds are picking up.
And the DPW was amazing, they actually put 3 new 25-mile-an-hour signs with orange flags on them to the point of, it's almost obnoxious, but people just, there's just zero disregard. We get so much money for our town if they would just have a cop there, just ticket them. Just ticket.
Do you know from anyone?
So, hopefully that changes, I will not stop though.
Good.
All right, thank you. Item number 9, unfinished business. Consider professional engineering service agreement with Wade Trim.
Good evening. I've prepared a draft agreement for your review. As many of you know, Wade Trim has served the village for several decades, actually. Prior to Sherry's arrival as administrator, apparently there was never a desire from the administration to formalize an agreement. So we've gone ahead and prepared. It's a fairly standard agreement, and it's broken down into 4 parts. The cover letter briefly describes each. As needed, consulting, which are day-to-day operations. Wade Trim would not charge for those. Phone calls, emails, coordinating meetings and those kinds of things. Further, we would not charge to prepare proposals for any of the work scopes. The second item defined as Type A are task orders, and those are fairly routine, but a little bit more significant in cost. We estimate they range from 2 to 20 hours in the maximum of $2,500 range. Certainly that's, I guess, negotiable or can be modified depending on the council's appetite. The goal for this would be granting authority to the administrator for more routine to authorize. If anything if all matters need to come before council, that's fine as well. But the intent of this is smaller projects, and we would simply give you a scope via telephone call or email, confirm it, and then proceed. And Sherry could then deal with the council. If you prefer that everything comes to the council, that's fine as well. Service type B is for new developments, particularly subdivisions. We have a fee schedule. If it's a 10 lot or a 50 lot subdivision comes in, we could do the plan review, provide a written report back to council and planning commission. That's defined in the proposal as well. And then service type C are larger projects, capital improvement projects, similar to the sidewalk proposal. Those would continue pretty much as they have in the past. We would give you a formal written scope and fee for your review and authorization. So that really wouldn't change as far as the administrative upfront procedures, but we would have a contract in place, so we wouldn't have to review the contractual language each time. You would have our fee schedule, which is updated annually for the hourly rates, and then the contract is a engineering joint committee. This is a long-standing 100 years or more that this has been used. It's been proven to be fair for both the engineer, the consultant, and the owner, the municipality. So this is a very routine document. It's not something that Wade Trim drafted. It's something that we purchase and rely on. So I know a couple of months ago you re-upped with a new attorney, and it seemed you were amenable to that process. So this follows in vein with that. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, I'll leave you to your discussion.
I do have a quick one.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on with Wade Trim and the steering committee? That we stopped that when COVID hit and we haven't.
Yeah, Sherry
I
just
just
asked
asked him
me
about
to
look
check.
into
I'll get
that.
with Adam. He and I speak routinely, and I don't know to answer your question, but I'll find out.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah. So
Have we had this contract in the past?
No.
no, this is new. Wade Trim, we've always been, as I understand, and I've been there almost 4 years, but for many years we've been the village engineer, but it's never been formalized. I understand we've done a majority of the work in the village, streets, you know, storm sewers, surveys, all of that, but, and there was a desire, at least on Sherry's part, to formalize it, so. And obviously Wade-Trim likes it too, right? I mean, it's great
It's a
for,
good idea to put
for our
things down,
resume.
put things down in print and.
Well, sure, it makes it easier, and then, you know, Melissa had a question about, you know, the sidewalks. Do you charge us for proposals, and how do we go about doing this? So this kind of formalizes that process.
You know, and a lot of definitions.
So you
Yeah.
want us to vote on this today? Can we
Yes.
read it over?
Well, you had it last meeting and it was postponed. You should
Oh,
have read it for that
This
meeting. But let me ask one quick question here, because I'm trying to understand the difference between, right now, when somebody comes in and is going to build something, we send things to Safe Built. That was the process and the procedure when I came here. So this would eliminate Safe Built, this would, or no?
No, I don't believe so. I believe Safe Build is your building inspector, building plan review? Planner.
So this has nothing to do, that would not take the place of that?
It wouldn't take the place of that,
Okay,
no.
all right,
No.
fine, okay.
The piece, Johnson subdivision, the
Mhm.
25 lots, though, that kind of thing would fall into this. We would do a
Okay, I
construction
see,
plan
okay, I
review
got you, okay.
for roadways and
What you did,
utilities.
okay,
That
all
would
right,
be,
okay,
excuse me,
Right.
that would be under service type B.
okay.
Any questions from the council?
So this just kind of alleviates any other quotes needed. We
Right.
just always come to you
Right.
guys for,
Right.
So there would be nobody else would be able to do the job?
They've been our engineers for years. All we're doing
Yeah, I
now is
understand.
putting a contract in place. So, yeah, we're not gonna go to anybody else, no.
for engineering.
What's the benefit of that to us then?
Well,
To not get other quotes?
for the work that they do, we've always had them do the roads and bridges and stuff since I've been here. They've Quite true.
LSL was the company out 6-ish years ago. LSL,
No, that's the planner.
That's for planning.
Oh, you don't do the same thing?
This is a engineering.
I was just wondering over the years how.
So Safe Built replaced LSL?
It's the same. company.
Same thing, different name.
Because LSL's the one that was helping with our master plan back in the day.
Well, it's Safe
That's
Built
why
now.
I figured they were the same.
Okay, did you have a question, Sherry?
I just, over the years, I've never seen anybody else have a chance to quote. I've never seen it done. It's always, we've always stuck with you because we've always used you. The council's always come to you guys. I kinda always wanted to see, another company come in and bid you guys to see what the difference was. But I have yet to see it. So.
I'd have to agree on that. I brought that up before, and I always just hear, well, nobody else did.
And it's not just that, we've had a lot of problems with sidewalks and things that weren't done right, in my opinion. And I've heard other people in the community also
That,
have concerns with the work of sidewalks and I'm just saying I'd like to see another company,
Well, we don't do the construction. I mean,
you guys get it all ready and then you have people come in and do it? Or you have a separate company comes in and does it?
the construction would be bid, yes. Wade-Trim does
That's-
not do construction, no.
they would be bid.
We do the design, and then a construction company would bid on it and do the work.
So when they redid that sidewalk and they put in, you know what I'm talking about, they put in the fencing,
I'm not familiar
I'm
with,
not familiar with what you're talking. Where are you
I'm
talking?
talking about on,
the last project, that-
Eagle, going to the school. The sidewalks,
bike
when they were,
path?
when they first
Going
put,
to the school.
yeah, when they were first put in, we had issues.
The bike path?
I Is
Is that what you call it?
I
the big,
That
the one that's not cement
would be
sidewalk
dealt
squares?
with the, whoever's putting it down.
Right.
It may not have been Wade Trim.
Okay, I
It
might
wasn't.
be mistaken, but I know that there were some issues with that. After it was put down, it had to be redone, and it's still not.
Talking about the roadway or the sidewalk?
The sidewalk.
There are other companies.
I guess I just see both sides, like, yes, it'd be nice for them to have a formal agreement, but I do see
We
everybody's
can
side on this side. It's
Just
nice to be able to compare things and,
Yeah, I just never seen another company come up against you and that's all I'm saying. And I'd like to see that. I don't understand why it seems like we always have one.
You know, I know a lot when, like when Jackie was here, you know, back when I was on council back 15 years ago, we had a problem with getting other engineering firms in here. We would send the requests out,
But they wouldn't.
but they wouldn't respond because we were so small and most of our projects
Alright,
were,
yeah.
were
I gotcha.
small.
I do remember that.
You know what I mean?
In fact, I did do that, I did
put.
put out
Yeah, you
to about
did.
5 different companies when I first came here, the first year I was here.
Gotcha.
Nobody
Yeah,
responded.
I do remember that now. Kinda.
We want to
Wade Trim did.
service your community. I'm
You know, they
proud
service
to
Atlas
service.
Township, Wade Trim does.
Do you guys use,
I mean, there's definitely other companies, like Row Engineering comes to mind.
Yes, but they did not respond. Yes, I did, I
We have
responded to all of
No
them.
complaints as far as Wade Trim service with the township, but, you know,
Is that like,
3 quotes is a standard, so.
suppose that nobody does because they just assume there are only one?
No, I don't know.
So,
I
That
sent-
would
you guys
not
under
be-
contract with Wade?
Yeah, and we have a pretty good policy of trying to go out for bid every few years, but honestly, I don't think we've gone out for bid on our planning in a while.
okay, well, that's helpful, I appreciate that.
But, I mean, we go to conferences every year and there's at least 2 or 3 other companies that are also.
There's several, there's like 5 of them,
But
like I said.
perhaps even getting a letter saying we don't wish to bid on your community would be sufficient for you guys.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I know from going to meetings in the county, it's not unusual that people don't bid on things. Wade Trim is used almost every municipality in Genesee County.
Right, well, that,
And we can, and if we adopt this agreement, if we decide to terminate, we have 30 days, is that correct?
Certainly, and you can modify the agreement, you know, if there's language in there that you want altered. We're certainly,
Anybody else?
we're open to that.
Sherry, do you have any more questions?
I do not.
Okay. Okay, looking for a motion?
I would make a motion to consider professional engineering services agreement with Wade Trim.
Well, it wouldn't be considered, it'd be.
Oh, it was, wait, it's
Okay.
said on here.
So we
Oh,
either
I'm
have
sorry,
to-
what's
No.
on here? Oh,
So we are concerned, so you either have to.
okay,
make a motion to
consider
approve it.
request to,
Just say to enter into a professional engineering services agreement between the Village of Goodrich
So you're approving it or you're.
and Wade Trim.
oh, well, I'm approving. Sorry, I scared everybody.
We got there.
Sorry. Yes, I want to approve the contract for Wade Trim.
Support?
I will support it.
Motion to enter into the agreement, and there is support. Discussion? Hearing none. Tracy?
Walworth,
Yes.
Swantz,
Yes.
McAbey,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Shimataro.
yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We look forward to continuing our long-standing relationship.
Yeah, but you can let us know about Arthur. We're gonna get back on the.
I
ball
will
with
do that tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
He's on my hit list for the first call.
Okay, 9B.
Thanks, Jerry.
Proposal to analyze the group for a website upgrade. Package cost $19.95 plus a fixed annual rate of $750 for full payment, security and support.
Right now, our website, which upset me greatly when I found out, is not secure. It's not a secure website.
Oh.
Never been a secure website, it's not secure. And,
But
this,
everything on there is public knowledge.
yeah, you got it.
So,
But, I mean, we're open to, there's cyber, I mean, it's very scary to know how that stands at this moment.
And we discussed this at the last meeting, right?
who made our current website?
IT right,
Not them.
Is it IT Right?
IT, right?
yes.
So why are we not looking at upgrading, the security on it through IT Right?
Because they are not doing websites anymore.
They're not doing websites
No.
anymore? Okay.
They, in fact, they're the ones that shoved us over on to these people. These people have been taking care of us for the last couple of months, but now they're offering,
Didn't we just redo our website a couple years ago?
no,
Like,
It needs a facelift.
No.
Yeah.
no, not at all.
We talked
No.
about this the last meeting.
This would help us. We could do word search. Right now, we can't even do that.
What if you can-
We've well, I know what you're asking. We added things like BSNA and the code enforcement, our ordinances where we can search the
Yeah.
ordinances.
Yeah.
Those are different, yes, those are additions, yes.
Oh, yeah, it's been upgraded, it looks nice.
yeah, because that's what I, you know.
But it is not a secure system.
I went out to look at it and it just, you know, I think our website operates perfectly fine. I compared our website with some of the websites that these guys have produced, and, like I said, they got different packages depending on what you do, but like I went out to Brandon Township, they don't have any ordinances or anything else, you know, on their website, which I was surprised about.
I do think our site looks very dull and outdated,
So do I.
but, I know that pricing wise, just because I've done recent websites with my other things, that this is a good price for that. I'm just, my question would be like, who has ability to edit it? Is it something, anytime I do something to send it in, or would like somebody in the office have abilities to?
Right
edit
now, I
things?
send things in Silk and Tracy, we are the administrators.
And with this new
Same.
plan,
It would be the same thing.
would they ever give you access just to do things yourself, or do you always have to send it into them to do it?
It's my understanding I'd have to send it into them. Well, it depends on the which package.
And then if they did do like a facelift for it, who is part of the marketing design, or they just totally do it and say, hey,
Nope, you guys can help decide which one it is. There's some samples in there.
okay.
I went to the other websites they had listed here, and some of them were quite vibrant.
Yeah, and they did, they were different. I went out to, there's another one, Moran Township, I think it is, up by had a picture of the Mackinac Bridge, so I'm assuming it's up there. And looked at theirs, and, you know, there was night and day difference between what they had and what Brandon Township had, yet they were made by the same company. That's why I'm just conflicted a little bit, because they were quite different as far as content and so forth.
But a few years ago, with the previous council, we got some quotes back then. Wendy, you'll remember.
Yeah,
To revise, can't remember.
yeah.
They were quite a bit more, I think.
Yes.
But they're nice.
And does our current one have an expiration date? Like, is it gonna, since you said they're not doing websites
No,
anymore?
we can
it's just
continue
there
doing
and-
what we're doing right now.
Okay.
I'm just concerned for the fact that it's not secure. And,
What were their comments you talked to them about security? IT, right?
I didn't talk with IT right about the security. This company is the company I talked to about it. They're the ones that pointed out to me that it's not secure.
Right.
You know, I'm not an IT person, but when they told me
No.
that upset me a lot. I'm sure Wendy knows about these things.
Well,
And I know, Sherry, you weren't here last meeting, but Katie brought up, would it be something that we could ask them about the integrating with Atlas Township to have, one site with two
Yes.
roads?
Would we wanna do that?
I don't think that's a good idea.
I don't think it is either myself,
I
but,
mean, you gotta remember, you know, we have our set of, code.
totally different
Yeah.
municipalities, totally
They go
different
to-
government.
From the homepage, you go two different pages,
Yeah,
totally
I mean,
different pages.
our
But right now you're
zoning
on there.
and our code enforcement is different between the two municipalities, and people are, I just don't think it's a good idea.
Well, I would like Katie to make a comment, since she is the clerk in the township, I'd like to hear what she has to say, if that's okay.
Okay, if I
Oh,
say yes.
you were asking a question?
Yes,
Asking a
I
question?
would, if it's okay, I would
One time.
like to hear what Katie has to say, because she is with the township, and I wanna hear what she has to say.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. So yes, we approved at our last month's meeting to go with a company called Fine Point, which is out of Ortonville. And this is almost the exact same price. It was $1,999 for us to have a total overhaul of our website. We went ahead and moved forward with it, even though we had mentioned the idea of working with you guys here. And they said that they absolutely could incorporate and work that out, but the vision to us would have to be, we do our whole layout, and this is how our layout is. And basically at the top, it would be an Atlas Township tab or a Village of Goodrich tab, and those would interchange. And it would be like, the green screen is all Atlas Township, where everything's in the same place. Our ordinances are in the same place, our code enforcement, our building inspector, planning, agendas, meetings. The layout is all the exact same, it's just two different tabs. So you would still have your villageofgoodrich.com that you would go to, and we would still have atlastownship.org that we would go to. But they would absolutely be willing to work with us on it. It's not something we'd have to jump into today. It's something we could add later if we wanted to. It's something you could contact Fine Point Designs and do your own thing completely for the same price. What we liked about them was that they were an Ortonville company, so they were close by.
So are these people are pretty close too.
Yeah, so it's a possibility, and we're more than willing to work with you guys. But
So maybe
we're
in the
doing our
future.
thing
Right, thank you.
regardless.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yeah.
Doug, can I say something about that?
Oh, yeah, wait.
I've worked here a really long time, and it's very confusing for people to get the village and the township straight. It doesn't matter if they're a week or 7 years here. That would confuse people so much.
I agree.
I strongly disagree with that.
I agree, 100%.
It is,
Mm-mm.
we need to stay separate for the convenience of people, really. I mean, the entities are two different things, and I understand what Katie's saying, you know, they would have their own tab, but we have links as it is right now to their website as they do with ours. So
We
there
do.
would be no benefit really, and just to confuse people.
To me though, just to respond to that, the big benefit is, oops, I went to Atlas Township, it's right there in front of my face that there are two different entities in the same community that are running parallel with each other. Oh no, you're on the wrong page, you need to go to the villages. You already typed in atlastownship.com, but it's not a redirection to a whole new site. And it's the exact same layout for both sets. You need to get to the village ordinances, you know exactly where they are because you're familiar with the township, or vice versa. So it's not, oh, where is it at, because on the other website it's here. It's on the
But
website
Katie,
here.
people say, I live in Goodrich, so they assume they live in the village.
Yeah, but that's
or
never
they
gonna
fill
change.
out-
It's never gonna change, so showing them that
Mhm.
we're two in the
Well,
same community.
okay, I think
does
we-
help.
All right,
Okay.
Sure, this one.
Just wanted to hear the difference.
Mhm.
council,
And cost savings.
any other comments?
Well, I would agree about the confusion part. As when it comes to data programs, the more simple, the better. I mean, there's things that may seem easy to some people that are familiar with the technology, but to other people, it's just more complicated. So just to make it as easy as possible is what I would like to see.
I noticed at some of the sites that I went to, there was bill paying online and tax records.
Yeah, we got
I don't
those.
know how, yeah, but I don't know if we need to upgrade that or not, but that's something that's always gonna be.
Our
you're
taxes
always
are
gonna be asking
online.
for that.
Our taxes are online.
You just type in, it takes you over to the township.
Well, yeah, I'm saying-
No, but I think what Doug's
Pay
referring
it, to
to
pay.
is paying for your taxes online. So you
Good.
get your bill and
Oh,
it says,
yeah.
go here to pay your bill.
Once we get a treasurer, they can do that. We can-
I mean, but that would be really nice, and I think it would
Sure.
relieve, or help, see, I don't know if it helps you out or makes your job more confusing, because you would have to go to the website to see who, you'd have to get a report, basically, that these are the people that paid, online, and then you'd have to go into your system and do whatever you have to do. I don't know if that adds additional work or less work, but from a convenience point of view, it sure be nice for the residents
Sure.
to be able to go out there and pay their bill
Well,
online.
once we do credit cards, then that won't be a problem. It'll be a convenience on the website, like you're saying, Keith.
Yeah, a lot of that will be done for you.
You'll be
So when
able
you
to
say
pay
that, so are they
online.
going to, you're confusing me a little bit, so are they going to allow credit card payments? I'm not sure.
Well, it depends on the next treasurer.
Yeah, they said as soon as we.
It's
get
possible,
we
yes.
can do
It-
that.
Yes.
It is possible.
They have to.
Yes.
do that.
Okay.
That's not an avenue that I'm going to.
Right, it's possible down the road.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
sure.
Okay, well, I would like to make a motion to hire Shoemaker Technology Group for a website upgrade package cost of $1,995 plus a fixed annual rate of $750 for a full management security and support.
Okay, do you support?
Yeah, I'll support it.
Okay, there's a motion support to hire Shoemaker Technology Group. Last comments?
I don't know, why are you going with the most expensive gold package instead of the silver?
That wasn't the most expensive one.
No, that
Well, I
wasn't the
mean,
most
There's only,
expensive one.
yeah, there's
Not the
more.
least expensive.
Oh, no, it wasn't, no. Well, it's just the full, they're gonna be monitoring it, and it's the full security, which makes me feel better.
Right,
That's why I went with that. But
yeah.
councils will, choose whichever one you want.
Well,
I would recommend this
server
one.
is a real thing, and we don't need that.
Well, you got a motion on the.
But we have a
floor.
motion
We
and
have
a
Motion on
second.
the floor?
Yeah, in a second.
Tracy?
Moore,
Yes.
McAbey,
Yes.
Schlentz,
Yes,
Walworth,
Yes.
Shimataro.
No,
Thank you. Okay, 9C, set tax roll, Bruce Metals road repair.
Okay, this is resolution number 2021-10, Goodrich Meadows Road Repair. They'll be doing cold milling, full depth HMA removal and replacement, concrete curb and gutter removal and replacement, drainage structure reconstruction, and HMA resurfacing. This cost is assessed to 83 parcels equally. The estimated total cost at the end of the 10 years is $615,103.50. The assessment for each parcel would be, which I have to do this, I have to show the full amount for the full 10 years, $7,410.89 over 10 years. If they choose, now the first payment will not be due until November 1st, 2022. If any of these residents come in and pay ahead of time, they will pay their amount without any interest expense, and that would be $6,626.51.
Can you repeat that?
yes, please.
$6,626.51. That's not including any interest expense.
if they pay the whole thing.
If they pay the whole thing. Now you ask, what happens? Well, that amount then comes off the principal, okay? What's left and who's left, then that will be spread out again, okay? So if they pay it 2-3 years in, we'll have to figure out what year they're in, what point that interest is, and figure out from the day, it's going to be a process. But each time it's paid off, that principal, like with any loan, is gonna get smaller. And then it could conceivably shorten the length of the loan. It might not even be 10 years, it could end up being 7 years or 8 years. So, we have to set the tax roll. This resolution was approved by our attorney. It was approved by the bonding attorney. And it's here for you to approve. We need to do this. We have to set the tax roll. So,
and I I'll make a motion to approve the setting of the tax roll for resolution number 2021-10 for Goodrich Meadows Road Repair SAD.
Support.
Put all over.
Support.
Mhm.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Comments? Questions? Tracy?
Schwanz,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Shimataro,
Yes.
McAbey,
Yes.
Walworth.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you. Okay, now, 9D, which is,
9D.
Make the motion to add it to the agenda, it's bond,
We already did add it.
We did.
We already
Oh,
added
yeah,
it. Mhm.
Okay,
Oh,
that
you
was
did,
rolled in.
Yeah. Okay, this is a bond authorizing resolution number 2021-11. This was the bonding attorney, which is required because this resolution approves the basic perimeters of the bonds. It pledges the special assessments as security for the bonds. It provides a general obligation pledge of the village, which means that if the special assessment district revenues are short, the village will have to pay it out with the available funds. It contains a number of provisions that are required to issue bonds on a tax-exempt basis, which is reflected in the interest rate quoted by the bank, because we are a tax-exempt municipality. And then it contains a number of provisions required by state law relating to the issuance of debt by charter villages. These are things that are required by law by the federal government. It's all laid out here. So I need this approved so we can move forward. Once this is approved, and then the bonding attorney will get with me, and then I'll get with the signers that are signers that will have to sign this. Doug, you're gonna have to sign in here for sure. I'm not sure what we're gonna do for a treasurer, because it says treasurer, we don't have a treasurer. So I'm not
Can I
sure,
sign?
probably it'd have to end up being you, Sherry, to sign. Or the president pro tem, I'm not sure. The bonding attorney will let me know as soon as I find out from him, which he will contact me tomorrow. I'll get this all figured out, and I'll get in here who needs to sign these. Quicker I get these signed, the quicker, because we're running, getting low on time to get this done this year.
Right.
The quicker I can, get this out, and it looks like perhaps maybe within a week we can get the money let to us. I've already talked with our auditor about it, and getting it set up in our budget. And because it has to have its own line, a revenue line, it has to have its own appropriation line. We put the money in, and then we'll be able to get this job done. Now, also from that money, this bonding attorney is gonna have to be paid. That's why it's $550,000 instead of the $520. I had to pay this. It's gonna pay for our audits for the next 10, possibly 10 years. Now you say, well, we get an audit anyways, what do you gotta help to have them pay it? Well, those are specifically audited for the federal government. So every year they have to have their own audit. So our auditor will be doing that audit, but, and there's no reason why the village residents should have to pay for that. So that's why that's padded a little bit there. And then I was asked by one of the residents, what's the extra $94,000? In the the full total amount of it. I said, well, this bank is loaning us over $500,000. They're not gonna loan it to us for, interest free. It's interest, is what that extra $90-some thousand is over the 10 years. But again, if things get paid, that's gonna be shortened
Right.
Right.
and be less. So I need this approved, please.
I would like
Okay.
to make the motion to approve the bond authorization resolution for number 2021-11.
I'll second.
All right, it's been resolution made and seconded to authorize 2021-11 authorization, bond authorization resolution. Any comments? Tracy?
Shimataro,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Schwanz,
Yes.
Walworth,
Yes.
McAbey.
Yes.
Thank you.
I wonder with all those houses for sale right now, if they get sold, paid off, and,
They will include that in the sale.
be nice.
I already talked with them, they've already called me.
That'll be really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, new business, consider service agreement between MedStar Ambulance and the Village of Goodrich effective immediately.
Okay, no, at that meeting that a few of us were at, they knew that we were having this meeting. They never sent me any agreement. I do not have an agreement in my hand. No one gave me anything. Did you guys have one?
I thought they would have sent it directly to you.
No, I got nothing. So,
Because
So
you
they
guys
got a
signed,
ton
right?
of stuff in the letters as far as their opinions.
but we have, I do have,
She's, that was signed.
I do have consort,
Well,
Why are we considering it then?
because we went to the meeting.
Sherry?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
okay, this, MedStar wants us to enter into agreement to have MedStar Ambulance, be the main provider for ambulance service for the village. And, Mr. Walworth was at the meeting, Doug and Sherry and myself, right? We were at the meeting. Do you guys want to elaborate on any of that?
Yeah, it was informative, gave me a good background. And the main thing I got out of it, it's an agreement, not a contract. And at any time and point, we can get out, if you wanna use that term. There's been some problems with the system in the past. We've had some situations here in the township that, it took longer than necessary, when supposedly there was somebody 10 minutes away. That they were there on the screen, but they weren't there in person. And, I think there's a lot of bickering going on between the services, the different companies and whatnot. That's none of our concern. And I don't think they're trying to carve it up and keep people out. There's definitions of closest, what's appropriate. We talked about coverage, other coverage, like football games and wrestling matches and whatnot. School, if the school was to hire an ambulance to sit outside the football field, I believe it was $200.
No, it's cheaper, but they're allowed to hire anybody they want. It was like
Well, they hired anybody they want to, but the dollar price.
They were cheaper.
But, if, we had this kind of a service, they would be in the neighborhood and there'd be no charge.
It doesn't
In the
cost us
neighborhood may
anything.
not necessarily mean right in the parking lot, but, they said they'd be aware of, civic activities, parades, things like Goodrich Days that would have a large crowd, that they would have a presence nearby. They may participate and hand out literature, at Good Times in Goodrich, you have demonstrations and whatnot. They are in southeast Michigan, different locations in southeast Michigan. And they touted the fact that they didn't want a guaranteed income, that they would operate it would all be funded on their runs, their profit. We wouldn't be required to subsidize. As far as housing, they said they weren't looking for a place to house it. I think that was of a concern, that they may want to, house themselves here at night or weekends or holidays or whatever. They said they didn't want that.
Well, the biggest thing I got from it was the time. Okay, some of these can average 45 minutes. We lost somebody in Green Ridge Estates, that if somebody would have been there on time, that person would have lived. The average time right now is about 45 minutes. When somebody's having a heart attack or a stroke, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, so they're gonna vote on this, tomorrow, so that's why they're looking for, our
Tonight,
support
yeah.
in regards to this. I would just, for the recording, I'd like to read the letter that, we received from, the city of Davis and Davidson Township and Litchfield Township, who are all entering into this agreement with MedStar. So, many of you are keenly aware of the long-standing issues facing the Genesee County EMS system. The EMS system in our county has been flawed for some time now, and the recent, perhaps ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has certainly added additional stresses to the already strained system. EMS in Genesee County has seen many challenges and attempts to reform over the years. Some of these reforms that were implemented over time have led to this free market system and have had a detrimental impact to our EMS system and the residents of Genesee County, particularly in the outlying cities, villages, and townships. However, perhaps the most important reform the Genesee County EMS system has desperately needed has long been avoided and often ignored. State law allows for municipalities, cities, villages, townships, even counties to enter into contracts and/or service agreements with private EMS companies to provide coverage and emergency services to their respective residents. This can be done by individual municipalities or by a combination of local governments, such as a contract that the city of Davidson, Davidson Township, and Richfield Township entered into recently. Additionally, efforts are underway to assist many of the smaller communities in Genesee County by opening avenues to bring them into the contracts and agreements of the larger, higher call volume municipalities. These contracts and agreements are mutually beneficial to both the municipalities and to the EMS providers. The residents of our communities receive reliable, accountable services, and the providers are assured the call volumes they need to operate efficiently. The concept of municipal EMS contracts and service agreements is not new or mutually exclusive to Genesee County. Nearly every other county in the state of Michigan honors municipal EMS contracts and agreements to some level. The EMS system in Genesee County has long stood alone in its open and free market design of EMS system delivery. In order to implement these agreements, the general membership of the 911 Consortium Board must meet and agree to adopt the policy of honoring municipal contracts and service agreements with private EMS providers. We are reaching out today to request your support and vote in the affirmative to implement this long overdue reform of the Genesee County EMS system. This is not a county-wide mandate and has been attempted in the past. This is not a county-wide mandate as has been attempted in the past. Therefore, if you decide to enter into a contract or service agreement with an EMS provider, your community will still be served by the 6 EMS providers operating within Genesee County. However, many communities have chosen to take a different approach to ensure that their residents are served by a provider that will not only be held directly accountable for their level of service and care, but will also engage the community in many different ways. At the next meeting of the 911 Consortium Board General Membership, we would like to ask that you please vote yes to adopt the policy of honoring municipal EMS contracts and allow the many communities that have already taken the steps to secure EMS contracts and service agreements to move forward. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact us.
Can I just ask one question about this? How many ambulances does MedStar have in that area, if we're ranging from Richfield to Goodrich?
When we were at the meeting, they touched on all that. They got $3-4 million into their systems. I don't know how many. Do you remember, Katie, how many they had?
Well, it's not a hard set number. It's more, right now the system is, if we have a problem with a response time for 911, we have to contact 911, which goes into another authority over it, and it ends up being a private meeting, and they send us a letter saying, we discussed it, but we have no feedback. We can't tell you what happened, and no resolution, so it's just a whole, it's their fault. This gives us that opportunity to actually hold a specific party accountable, because MedStar reports to us. They have to give us their reports every month, they have to guarantee their time that they're gonna get there.
and they will have, otherwise, if you wanna do mutual aid, they call it, to like Groveland Township, there's county issues because of where we're at in the county. We're not allowed to pull mutual aid from outside of our county because of the requirements within Genesee County.
Right.
And so MedStar has the ability to still see that screen with all the dots and say, we're not the closest one. And they pick up the phone and call it to the person closer, whether it's their agency or somebody else. They know they're responsible to get somebody to us. So it kind of saves another step of kicking it back to 911 and then kicking it back and forth, and then going through a whole mutual aid process. They can call Oakland County and get their guys here quicker than 911 can. So basically, we're really just asking for Genesee County as a whole to turn around and start acknowledging these local agreements, because we're essentially the last county in the state and in several other states as well. The way Genesee County has continued to operate is everybody on the screen is clustered towards Corona Road and 75.
Where the money is, basically, because they're
They're all
private
fighting.
companies. But if you guys will notice, I sent you guys this afternoon, as when I received it late from the 911 consortium, from their attorney regarding these agreements. And it basically says, in sum, on the last page, the consortium is not recognized, or it is not required to recognize requirements of a contract between a consortium member and an EMS provider. But it is reasonable to interpret the foregoing as granting the consortium discretion to recognize contracts between municipalities and EMS providers, but only to the extent it continues to dispatch the closest unit available at the request. So you can approve all you want, they're still gonna dispatch the closest unit. Now, down at the bottom, it says, if the consortium wishes to move forward with recognition of municipal contracts with EMS providers, it should be done on a case-by-case basis by resolution of the consortium general membership board. So, each contract for each municipality is gonna have to go to the consortium and also be voted upon to go ahead and do it. But basically, the way I read this, and I don't know if you guys had a chance to read it or not, you can be in that agreement, but they're still gonna send the closest one. Might not be MedStar.
But MedStar will be held accountable if there's.
Yes. But what MedStar's saying is they're gonna be out here, they're not gonna be necessarily clustered around where all the other, they have enough to put ambulances out here instead of where the money is, I guess.
It's a hard concept to, I mean, because when you look at the way it is right now, it's, you know, whoever's the closest ambulance is the one that's gonna get it right.
Yes.
But then, you know, if you read through some of this stuff, you see that, okay, well, they contact the first ambulance and they're not available, then they gotta go to the next closest one, and then they gotta go to the next closest one, right? And they go down the line and they're wasting time.
You got it.
Just trying to
Yep.
find an ambulance
Yes.
to send to the
Yep.
place, right?
Mhm.
So, and, you know, I wish you guys could have been at that meeting when he spoke, you know, we had the fire department chief there, and, you know, the fire department chief was, for trying out this new concept. I guess that's the big thing that
Mhm.
kind of swayed me a little bit. Because you think in your mind, well, whoever's closest, that's who I want to come.
Mhm.
And what they're saying is by giving us this area, they're gonna have more ambulances
Mhm.
in this area.
So they would conceivably be the closest anyway.
Right, exactly. So, it's hard to say, is it gonna work, is it not gonna work, is it, you know, we can always get out of the agreement, if we have to. Now, we do not have a service agreement in our packet that we can look at and say, yes, that's what we wanna vote on. I think what we need is that Sherry has to go to the 911 meeting tomorrow, and she's gotta vote as to whether to, allow these types of contracts.
Mhm.
Okay, so, my feeling is we should allow her to, allow these type of contracts. Does not necessarily mean when we see the contract that we're gonna adopt it, but for what she needs from us, at least tonight, is the okay from us to say, yes, we agree to allowing.
Correct.
Well, we did that night.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
but we had a
We're,
quorum.
we're looking for support at 911 to get 911 to acknowledge these contracts, and then from there, we can actually tweak our contracts.
Exactly.
But we need to get 911 to get out of their old school ways and start working for the communities.
Somebody asked how many ambulances they had, I don't know how it was phrased, but, they said they placed an order one time, it was the largest, correct me if I'm wrong, it was the largest order for ambulances in the state of Michigan. It was like 94, is that what it was?
Something like
I
They
don't know.
that.
ordered 94
have
for
stuff.
southeastern Michigan.
It actually moves.
And they're operating through, north of Detroit, up to Port Huron, and they're Detroit west or whatever. And, they believe in having the newest equipment. They said they ordered $2 million worth of some kind of, equipment, and found out that, something else was better. So they bought $2 million of the better stuff. It's a hard
So,
job.
so I need a motion then for someone to authorize, oh, I'm sorry.
Who was the company that had their trucks in Goodrich or Atlas, whichever was it, years ago?
MMR.
Sports for a while, MMR.
Sure.
And then they decided we didn't have enough and they left.
We weren't getting enough calls, yeah, and so they left.
They're all clustering.
Right.
So,
towards
and we've had
that.
to have
Just
before,
sitting there,
we've had them down
Yeah.
at the Lions Club
Right,
many years ago,
we had our own at times.
and they're just not getting the calls, so
Right.
by doing what they're trying to do now, they're getting Davison Township, City of Davison,
Richfield.
Ridgefield Township, by kind of grouping and saying, hey, we got contracts with these people, they're gonna have more of their ambulances in our community now, and they're gonna be able, from an average perspective, to be able to get the number of runs that they need to get to be able to operate, to where if they just have a service agreement with, just say, Goodrich, and they're not getting, they said they needed to get at least 3 a day in order to be profitable. And they weren't, they were getting
Yeah,
one
I just
or
wondered
two a
if it was
day.
the same company or not.
Oh, no, it's a different company,
So
no,
that
it's
makes
a
me feel better.
different company.
Well, I would like to make a motion to give Sherry Wilkerson,
Just to direct me to
Direct.
vote in the affirmative
yes.
on behalf of the village
On
of
behalf of
Goodrich.
the village of Goodrich, to make that.
Motion, is there support?
Support.
Motion is made and support to authorize Sherry to vote in the affirmative at the 911 tomorrow.
Mhm.
Final comments? Tracy, you might want to view, please.
Schluntz?
Yep.
Walworth?
Keith?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about it, yes. Sorry.
Caro?
Yes.
McAfee?
Yes,
Moore?
Yes.
thank you.
Mhm.
All right, now the toughest one on the whole agenda,
Oh, thank you, Lord.
number 10B. Consider request to block Windermere Street, October 17th, 2021, to host the second annual neighborhood Halloween party.
They did this last year, and the fire chief had no issues with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't interfere, and
I usually get around to the back.
It was really
and,
good,
you know,
yeah.
don't see- not blocking any traffic.
They had a
So
lot of
that road
fun.
is just just so everybody
Yeah.
knows, I'm sure, probably everybody knows, that road is just a crossroad between, the two subdivisions, Fox
Yeah.
Hollow.
Yeah, you can still go around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can still go
It's
around.
full access,
And there's
yeah.
not any driveways that are blocked.
No.
All the houses on the four
Right.
corners are, that you can get to them from the outside
Mhm.
road, so it's just a crossroad. That's just from getting from one side of the subdivision to the other side of the subdivision, and
So
if they have to, they go around.
So
It's
she's
not
asked-
Is there a
blocking
motion?
I'll make a motion to, block that street,
Windermere
October
Street.
17th, 2021, to host the second annual neighborhood Halloween party.
Good, there's a motion, there's support?
I'll support.
All right, motion and support. I don't think we need much time for questions.
Mm-mm.
We can do a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, last, public comments on items not on the agenda. Public,
Can we comment on things that were on the agenda?
Nope.
not on the agenda.
And what was that mean?
All right, here.
Now, all I really was gonna say was just, that Colby Miller guy, for those of you that weren't at that ambulance meeting, he would be more than happy if you wanted to call him or set up a time with him. He would love to vent your ear on everything you wanna know. And quite honestly, the more people that hear about it, the better off we all are. We gotta work on it together. And then I do wanna just say, as far as the taxes, I'd like to know how much the taxes were raised, how much that generated each year, when you guys raised the taxes this year and last year. Because I really think you wanna keep that in consideration when looking at things like that property, that tax reverted property. After you've raised our taxes, the last thing you wanna do is turn around and spend more than what you just raised our money for roads on some property without a plan, unbudgeted property without a plan. It's, optics of that is not great. So, other than that, great meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dave, do you ever wanna say
What's that?
something at a meeting?
No, I was gonna say, Katie was talking about Colby Miller. I've talked to him several times on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's way up the food chain, with the company, so to speak.
Good.
And he was very knowledgeable
Yeah, he gave you a
about
great
the,
presentation.
about the problems here in the
Right,
community.
I thought it
And
was very
I just
informative.
wanna affirm too what you were saying,
See,
Doug,
you got to say something, public comment.
about response times, you were referring to a football game in
Yeah.
2010, I believe, or 9. And it was debated as the amount of time it took for them to come. But you need to do something with the ambulance service. It's a bad situation. I've covered that story for too long here.
Yes.
Do you guys have a contact for him, just for,
I do.
PTO
Yeah, we get that from Sharon
I've got it.
Robertson.
I got a
Yeah.
cell phone for him.
we just like to have presents like that, PTO events for kids, they can see the
Yeah,
ambulance
he's
and
in.
that
He's
trunk or
totally in.
treat.
Perfect.
Okay.
They're actually
Council
excited to do
comment?
that.
I do. I meant to bring this up during administrative, but I forgot about it, so I'm just gonna mention it now.
You can't, it's over with, no, I'm kidding.
Just that we need to schedule some workshops in regards to our asset management plan and the roads, and discuss how we are going to implement that plan moving forward, and that's gonna be, and how we're gonna pay for all of it, and it's gonna be some long, drawn-out, many meetings, I'm sure, but it's something that we need to go ahead and address, or start to address. So, that's it.
I'll send out some calendars.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
Anybody
Or you
else?
could create a subcommittee of a couple to get it started,
Oh, that's
and then they
right.
could come and present to the council.
Yeah.
What do you think, Keith?
That'd be more helpful.
Yeah.
A subcommittee?
No, I'd rather start with a full council and get the discussions going. We can break into a subcommittee later
Break
if
in
we
later.
decide to, but I think we need to, as a group, talk about,
Right.
you know, this is the asset management plan, we paid Waitrim to put it together, we spent $20,000 on it or something. And,
Okay, well, I'll send out a calendar to everyone, a couple calendars for a couple months, and we'll get some meetings scheduled.
Is that what you were talking about earlier?
Anything else?
Anything else?
With the last meeting, with the sidewalk situation, I just wanted to put it out there that there was just confusion. I was told by one party to come more prepared, and then, I was kind of corrected that I needed to present it to you guys maybe in a more of a closed meeting first about projects and plans that are something we wanna, look into. So I will, once Keith gets some dates for the upcoming budgets, I will have all the information ready for you guys to look at for this hopeful sidewalk project. And I'll have more information for us to discuss on a non-open council meeting platform.
During an asset management plan
Well,
meeting,
if
are you talking about?
if we need to throw it into, a
Sure.
separate meeting, I just don't know how many people wanna keep coming to multiple meetings. But it's a quick discussion, it can be brought up at a meeting.
We can always go to closed session,
All
just,
right. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. I'm gonna shock you, I'm not gonna say anything. Thank you for coming.
Well, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Hey,
I'll start with one of
Second that motion, thank you.
You never want to adjourn this meeting.
Yeah.